In issue 119, we get a first proper meeting between Batman and Abyss. Because, yes, obviously that's right, Abyss isn't dead. This is actually part of some plan that he has. But yeah, grisly looking guy, must be said. Looks like a corpse. I get the feeling this is some dude who has died, but kind of, for some reason, is still alive. Is somewhere between the living and the dead. Either way, he looks pretty gnarly. He's been into the abyss, obviously, hence the name. So no doubt we will get filled in on his exact origins at some point, but not in this issue. Here we just get enough to kind of keep that intrigue going, and we also get a physical confrontation between him and Batman that shows us he can do some serious damage. Now we also get a Detective Kaya, who was introduced in issue 118. She seems to become an ally of Batman in this. She recognizes that he's here to do good and goes some way to kind of, yeah, aligning with him. Now, one of the big plot kind of twists in this issue is that of Lex Luthor. Lex Luthor apparently wants Batman on his payroll. That's the way it seems anyway, which is laughable. Let's face it, I can't ever foresee Batman ever being on Lex's payroll, but Lex is using the fact that Bruce's riches have all gone against him. It does raise that interesting question, doesn't it? Can Bruce still be Batman without his money? That's something that Lex said at one point, that his greatest superpower is his riches, which are now gone. For anyone who's been reading the Batman titles, Bruce lost all his money basically, and so he's now doing all of his operations on a shoestring. So I find that quite interesting to see if Batman can still kind of manage to survive without all that stuff. But it is definitely something about the character that has always been worth exploring, because a lot of people do say, you know, it's like the only thing holding you back from being Batman is that you don't have his money. If you had his money, you could create the toys and all that. But it's not really just about the toys. It's not just about having a Batmobile and all that. It's what makes Batman Batman is the strength of his character, his will. Once again, same art team as before, do a cracking job. It's still beautiful. All pages are beautiful. I feel like we're getting a bit more into the story now. Although writer Joshua Williamson is still having fun, it's got to be said. There's a nice little moment when Bruce, Batman, kind of protects a crime scene. A little bit of a stretch, it's got to be said, the amount of kind of shooting that has been going on with a certain SWAT team that kind of come in and almost destroy the place. But no, he apparently protected the crime scene when he takes them out, despite the fact that they've just shot the place up. But whatever, it's Batman. That's the answer for why he can do anything, isn't it? I'm Batman. But yeah, it's a fun issue, quite intriguing, and as usual ends on a cliffhanger. This video is brought to you by WoW Comics. Visit wowcomics.com today and order your comic books online and use this code down at the bottom of the screen, WowBry1, when you place your order, and you will get 15% off. I've teamed up with WoW Comics to bring you this video and others like it because they are a company I trust. I buy my comic books from them, so I suggest you do the same. As I say, use the code WowBry1 at wowcomics.com and get 15% off your order. There is a B story in this one. I'm always torn between the B stories that they put in comic books these days. So you get your main A plot, which is your cover story, and they often have a backup story. and I've been hit and miss with them. It's got to be said. In this one, we get quite a good story, or the start of a good story. It's again intriguing, it must be said. Feels like they're building to a new Robin. We'll have to see where this goes. But yeah, we get this character of Mia Mizoguchi. She is this young girl who is quite an adventurous spirit. Seems to have fairly rich parents, from what I can tell, and yeah, doesn't really dress for occasions, that kind of thing, because she's a bit of a tomboy. But she is looking for a schoolmate, not necessarily a close friend, but she's got that detective spirit about her, and she goes looking for this friend who's gone missing, and she feels it may be linked to a bunch of murders that have been happening. She decides to wear a Robin outfit for that. I don't know. So she meets Bruce Wayne at one point in this story, and it's made clear that they have met once. Now, I don't know if we've seen that meeting before, whether this is the introduction of this character or whether she's been introduced in another story. I will have to track that down if that's the case. But certainly, there's not much explanation for why she has a Robin costume beyond the fact that she's made that herself. That's what I'm led to assume, based purely on this. If so, she's done a real bang-up job with it. It's got to be said. I'd love to know who her tailor is. It gets Batman kind of thinking, you need to quit that, go home, stop pretending to be Robin. But yeah, so that allows for some fun moments. I love the artwork in this, it's got to be said. I love the straight edges. I'm very particular about straight edges. I don't like fat, rounded edges in comic books. I'm very much of the Norm Brayfogle school of artwork, and Graham Nolan, that kind of thing. I like those, yeah, thinly edged characters. Batman looks amazing in this. He's drawn in a way that I particularly like Batman to be drawn. Now, this story is written and drawn and lettered by Karl Kerschl, so certainly a talented individual, it must be said. And this story does show a lot of promise, as I say. I like the artwork. I like the introduction of this character, if it indeed is the introduction. So, yeah, very intriguing. Looking forward to seeing where it goes. I'm going to give the A story in this, once again, as with issue 118, a 4 out of 5. And I'll give the B story a 4 out of 5 as well. It was definitely up to scratch.